We are live. I should really learn to get some music and really up the production like everyone else does. But when you have to run it all, it's a bit more complicated.
We're not here for your excuses.
Hello! Go retweet.
All right.
Go retweet and share.
Retweet and share.
I really miss doing this in person with you guys. I feel like TDSP days were just a lot of fun. There's so many people at the office. We're just talking about so many different things. Really miss being in person with you guys, but
we had
seeing
things
you
to talk
virtually.
about.
Huh?
So,
I said we had things to talk about.
That's true. We did have a lot to talk about back then, but
That was a bonus for a talk show.
about sports, that there were sports. I think that AJ is already defeated. He's like already in defeated mode in 1 second into this podcast.
well,
He won last week, so he can be defeated today.
that's his prize. And also a beer from the DNVR Sports Bar. Open back up. But before we get into all of this, Denver Rubber Company is the most reliable local partner for your long-term projects, guys. They remain open to supply products to other essential businesses such as medical, military defense, government, wind energy, and food and beverage industries. With their industry knowledge and their precise manufacturing capabilities, DRC is committed to supporting your needs, especially during these uncertain times. Be sure to call them today for any of your needs at 1-800-259-0010 or visit them at drcfirst.com/DNVR. Happy Friday!
Yeah!
The Denver Sports Podcast presented by Breckenridge Brewery, and I think this is the first time I'm seeing Drew Kreisman not drink a beer on this show.
Spoke way too soon.
Strawberry Sky.
I think you have to finish your Strava craft coffee before you're allowed to have your Breck brew. But the moment I'm done with this one, I'm switching to this one. Look, people, you got to have a schedule. In these uncertain times when you're not sure what day it is, what hour of the day it is, you need to know. And then basically, morning, Strava craft coffee time. Once we're done with Strava craft coffee time, we move into Breck brew time. Later in the night, it's your thing, becomes Mile High Green Cross time.
Yeah, and in that we're learning indisputably that time is a human construct. We can just the second you're done with your Strava craft, we'll just declare that the official end of the morning, and then it's officially game time for the little Strawberry Sky.
Yeah, for me, I have a little bit of a break between my Strava and my Breck. Like, I have my Strava a little earlier, but that's just me.
Drew's got like a Hunter S. Thompson concoction over there, uppers and downers, and
it's important to have a routine.
Well, the Strawberry Sky is definitely, I think, most of our favorites, but Mile High City Lager is also amazing, so definitely be sure to check that out. You can get it at Davidson's or just by heading to your nearest grocery store. You can get a big 15-can pack. They have it at King Soopers. They even have it at Costco. So while you're getting your groceries, your essentials, get another essential, some Breck Brew. And honestly, I'm still out of Breck Brews, so that's part of my weekend plan since I have not gone on it. I need to go to the grocery store, but...
I love that.
I'm sorry, Drew. I'm an embarrassment. I know. Drew's just
I love that Mile High City beer. That's a good beer.
Yeah, Drew. Eric, you really
beer.
do love that one.
I do. I really do. Like, I was on more than one podcast where I was like, midway through, I was like, wow, I just finished my third one of these. I should definitely like ramp her down a little bit.
Well, as you guys can probably hear, I've got RK with me, Drew Kreisman, AJ Hafley, and you guys know him as D-Line. We know him as Eric. And also, I don't think we're allowed to even call you D-Line. You really don't like that. So.
Well, I don't. It's like.
You like it like when we're on something like this, but behind the scenes, it's like.
Yeah, it would be. It's really weird if people refer to me as D-Line in person. It's also, but then I also put it in my little intro. So, what am I doing here? Real mixed messages.
D-Line / Eric or parentheses Eric. When you see him in person, that's just what you got to say. The whole thing.
I'm gonna start combining them into just E-line.
Oh, I like it.
All right, well, Eric is on the show today. D-Line Co. is on the show today because we are going to talk about his favorite subject, which maybe it's not everyone else's favorite subject as AJ.
AJ, who wants to
As AJ's like, oh, God. But hey, there have been rumors flying around about different jersey and uniform designs for the Rockies, the Avs, and the Broncos. So, we're in quarantine and we've got the KBO going on. So why not talk about some uniform designs and all of that?
You want to talk about the best uniforms in the KBO?
I haven't been paying attention enough.
let's talk. I haven't looked at them all. Who's your early favorite?
Twins have the best, to be honest. They're
pretty good.
Biased. Yeah, like they're the cleanest.
The Dinos might have the worst.
All right, we can talk about KBO later.
It's awful.
Okay.
Don't hijack my show. You've got your Beth Daily show that you talk about your KBO, but we're going to start off with the biggest question. What team needs a change in uniform the most? Eric, we'll go to you last.
Okay.
Let's start with Ryan.
Oh, we're going to Eric last. This one is pretty obvious to me. It is absolutely 100% the Broncos. It's funny because we'll eventually get around to this, but I have the sentimental tie. Maybe it's just because the Avs logo is just better than the Broncos one, but people say that the reason I love the Avs logo is because of all the success they've had in it. And maybe that could be true to a certain extent, but it doesn't apply to the Broncos for me. Their logo is just Eric's gone. He just left. All right. That doesn't apply to the Broncos logo for me. Like those feelings towards it, to me, it just looks outdated. They have such a great color scheme. There's so many different things you could do with orange and blue. The old logo was so good that I think they could make some improvements to it. So in the end, it's just the Broncos jerseys just don't do it for me anymore.
All right, AJ?
Sure, that works.
AJ, I'm going to need full participation from you. Tell me a team that you think a jersey change would be cool.
No, I agree. I think the Broncos need to. You look at that logo, and it's funny because it's so 90s, and like not in a way that I enjoy. Whereas the Avs logo is so 90s in a way that I adore.
Hey,
so
that's true.
I don't know. The 90s logo, the Broncos logo is just like, I loved it when it came out. It was perfect for the time. It fit. It's time to go. Like it honestly, just go back to the old D. You can go back to the old D with the Bronco coming through it, and I think that would be amazing. Those helmets that they use in the Color Rush games are incredible. Everybody loves them. They're so clean, and I'm just make that the logo, man. People like it. Just do that. I'm good with that.
But isn't a big issue with the Denver D is the fact that they never won in it. So like,
who cares?
Well, okay,
I agree,
so here's
but I feel like that's a big thing with people is the jerseys. I mean, I feel like that's a big thing with Avs fans that they don't want to change their jerseys because the Avs won Stanley Cups in those uniforms.
A couple things. One, I think the Avs uniform is still good, so that's one of the reasons why people don't want to change it. Two, I think there's a happy medium we can reach where the Broncos uniforms don't have to go back to exactly what they were when they couldn't win a Super Bowl. There can be, little tweaks and updates made. I mean, the old D is amazing. The truth is, the little horse inside of it looks like it was drawn by a little kid. So that could be improved a little bit. And you can kind of spice things up. And like AJ mentioned, I love when they put it on the navy blue helmet for the Color Rush jersey. So maybe that's another kind of updating that you do. You don't have to go back to the royal blue. I think the navy blue is stronger, feels a little bit more powerful when you get out there on the field. So I think there's some compromises you could be made so you're not just going back to a uniform that you always failed on the biggest stage in.
Drew, what do you think? What team needs it the most?
Oh, I have no idea.
Is that an opinion?
I mean, I assume.
When you look at all the jerseys, which one are you like, that could be updated?
Well, yeah. I mean, I am the wrong person to ask that question. I typically go, ooh, pretty, and move on, or don't notice things. Sometimes I will completely not notice the uniforms at all. I did like those those like throwback Broncos ones that were yellow and brown and stuff that I think mostly people hated. So see, I just have the worst opinions.
You actually like those, or are you just being sarcastic?
No, I dig those unis, like especially when guys were like doing the twisty socks.
Brandon Marshall with the twisty socks, it's kind of dope.
Anything that spins, Drew's into. That's really what we're learning.
Spinnies and twisties.
You know, we've really learned that.
Well, here's the thing, Drew, is that like you're not unique in this way. Like most people are not designers. They don't think about why things work, why things don't work, why they like certain things, why they don't like other things. And they don't think about like how the team's identity and the branding of the team is not trapped into the 1 year and the one time that you're looking at it. And it's like a larger holistic picture that sort of talks about the heritage of the team in general. And so I'm always like not in favor of things, doing things just to do them, just to make it exciting and new, to sort of like introduce new elements into the team's branding and the uniforms, because it's like, my answer to this question is yes, the Broncos absolutely need help, just because the Broncos were, and like what you guys are talking about, like with the logo refresh and the 90s things that you like about the Avs logo and don't like about the Broncos logo is the difference is that, hold on here, I've got some sound going out of my background. But there's no soul in the Broncos' current identity. Like the Broncos' current identity, it's like so clean and sharp, and there's just like you can't see the human hand in its creation. And the difference, like with the Broncos' old logo, like you're saying, RK, it looked like you could tell somebody drew that at a certain point in time. Like yeah. And it looks like it was people came together and made a decision versus a computer was involved to make sharp lines, clean lines. That, you know, a lot of times design fads come about because new technology is available to designers and they are starting from a different place. And so in the 90s, computer-aided design became such a larger part of the entire puzzle. So you were able to get things to be perfect, but you don't always want things to be perfect. Like sports are imperfect, like life is imperfect. And sometimes it's nice to have like a lot of times I'll draw things, I'll make it perfect, and then I'll trace over it and add imperfection back in. Like with our Knucklehead logo, like if you look, like there's wavy lines, like I made sure it looked like somebody drew this at a certain point in time. And like not everything is perfect, because that's not, once you go back and you like look at all sorts of logos, the most boring ones are the ones that feels like anybody could do. And the Avs one is kind of cool. Like you know that I'm a big detractor of the Avs logo. I'm like not into it, but the one endearing thing it has is it's kind of goofy. It's like it has like weird elements. Like there's nothing weird or goofy about the Broncos. It's just like oddly perfect in the wrong kind of way.
I think the way
that's a lot of the NFL.
It's true. The NFL has a corporate nature to it that I was actually just talking about the other day that actually takes some of the fun out of it. Let me try and remember why I was talking about why the NFL being super corporate. I can't remember. We were talking about how English football fans have all these songs and chants, and it really feels like the fans are the culture of the team, and they kind of control everything. And then I was talking about how the Broncos, when it became socially unacceptable to play the Gary Glitter song, the Broncos just like tried to create their own fight song. Like they just wrote it from scratch and were just like, here you go, here's the fight song. And it just felt so corporate. So I think while you were talking there, Eric, I kind of realized, like, you know, the Broncos logo looks like it was auto-tuned. The way that music can sound like it's auto-tuned.
Yes.
Yeah, with fight songs, I feel like it's just you can't create a new fight song. Like I think fight song is a part of a team's history, and it's so bad, and it's so easy, and there's so many things, like when you listen to it and you're not a fan, you're like, but that's the beauty of it, that fans take over. Like the Buffs fight song, the Eagles fight song, it so happens that most teams I like have a fight song that I obnoxiously scream. But I just don't think you can start.
But you can start things, but you have to commit to them. Like you have to do it. Like this is branding in general.
fans would need to start a fight song, not.
But yeah, well, either way, like whatever they want to do, like if they want to make something, like you have to make a thing, and then you just have to keep doing it over and over and over and over and over until it's just a thing, like that you don't even question anymore, like where it came from. It just is like our thing, like that. The Nuggets are a prime example of why you don't want to constantly hop back and forth and like try and find a new identity all the time, because the Nuggets have had like 5 or 6 like very unique and different identities that go along with different uniforms, that go along with different looks, that go along with different ideas, different ownership, different players. And the result is the Nuggets have no history. Like no one knows the history of the Nuggets. Nobody cares about the history of the Nuggets. Like every era is compartmentalized and is represented in a visual way by a uniform or a logo. And there's no through line, which is a major problem.
I think, again, that goes to NBA. It's not just the Nuggets. The NBA just likes to have these different editions every year with the jerseys. It changes a lot for every
Well, sure. There's that. There's absolutely that. There's definitely like fun things you can sprinkle in to keep it interesting and to sell merchandise. But like if you look at the Bulls jersey, if you look at the Celtics jersey, if you look at the Lakers jersey, like those are the exact same jerseys that they've had for 100 years or however long, and their logos have not changed. Like the Lakers don't even, there are no lakes in the city of Los Angeles. And they don't care. Like they just kept it. And like if you look at their logo with like the lines coming off of it, it's like very imprecise, very kind of goofy looking, and it's just allowed to look as though it has been around for a long time versus just like a Johnny come lately kind of identity, which so many teams make a mistake with. Like the Falcons just released an uniform update. This is a major mistake. It's going to be a complete prisoner to this time that it was created in. The Rams, the same thing. Like all of these new hot, cool little flashes. Like you can't do that and like want it to be something that is meaningful, especially for the Rams who are committing so many sins right off the bat with their new identity, where they're just doing like cool little flashy things instead of like really trying to establish a hardcore foundational visual identity that will carry on for years and years and years. They're just like going after flash in the pan stuff, and it's going to come back and bite them.
I think a new trend in DNVR is beards. Y'all all have beards. The 4 beards in Alley, Silver, Buff, put that in our comments. It's true. I think who really in the company doesn't have a beard? Brandon? Justin?
Zach.
Oh, you're right, Zach. Can Zach grow a beard? I feel like I've never seen him with even scruff.
Yeah. Anyone who doesn't have a beard at this point into quarantine, you have to question their ability to grow a beard.
But yeah, it's definitely the 4 beards and Alley. I like that name.
An interesting thing that I've noticed that goes to kind of what Eric was just talking about is, you say things are like cool little flash in the pan, feel like they're in this time, but I don't even think that plays anymore. Like I think in the 90s, people were like, yeah, like let's go modern. Modern was like a look, and everyone wanted to try to replicate that in some way. But at least the majority of fans in today's day and age, I think, hate when teams try to give new looks. It feels like there's been a general consensus that the simple, cleaner, more old school throwback style of design is more accepted.
Yeah, the 90s and the 2000s broke us as a people when it comes to design, as well it should have. It was like it was a really, really dark era in design in general because of like what I was talking about, like it was the rise of the computers. It was the like Terminator, the machines rose up and took us all down. Like because when I first started, when I was in college, like I literally had a typography class where we had plastic and we would paint letters on it, and then we would use our X-Acto knife to scrape away little imperfections so we could get like a perfect H. I mean, it was ridiculous stuff. So, and then like the first design layout program that we were taught was called Quark, which it was just, I mean, it had one undo. Like you could put, like if you did something and wanted to follow down a path and you're like, oh man, this is no good. Like I can go back one step.
Had one undo for like until like the 2017 update. You could only do Command Z once.
Well, but that if you
But then
actually
you
if you
had
hold
to
down
shortcut
shift,
that.
it'll keep going. Yeah.
I figured that out later.
But
on.
you literally
you're
only
doing
had one undo. Only
Totally.
one undo for Quark. So the point being is like you're talking about Photoshop gets like they introduce new filters and there's like these new cool things that you can do. And so then what's that cliche like when you as soon as you have a hammer, the whole world starts to look like a nail. Like you just like you have these new tools that you want to use. And so it just I just like that 90s look of sports logos I just hate it so much. I just hate it. I hate everything about they're all so pointy. Like the Avs is like super pointy also, like all the little and like the swoosh was a really big thing, that like the circle with the circle inside of it. Like the swoosh was like the most prevalent element of every logo project that anybody that I went to school with worked on. They're like, what if it be just like a swoosh? Because like Nike has a swoosh, so like so whenever I see that, it's like such an off-putting thing. And then not coincidentally, the new terrible Broncos logo has the Nike swoosh as its nostril. So there you go.
All right. Well, I know, Eric, you can talk about this for days. So
it's literally my profession.
Exactly. We've got a lot. We've piqued everyone's interest. We have a lot of comments on our live stream. But first, most of you guys all know that sports betting is now legal in Colorado.
Let's go.
Honestly, I've always wanted to get into it since I watch a lot of sports, but I really don't know any of the main things to know how to bet. I don't know. I just don't want to waste my money when I don't know something. But we are creating some awesome videos, explainers with RK, who he's going to break down some of these simplest. If you want to get into sports betting, this is going to be your way to do it. Oh, AJ's just done. He's over it.
That's okay.
And you can get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook. That's the app we're using to explain in these explainers the way to go about the app and such. And so also you can download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DNVR when you sign up. For a limited time, all new users can get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. Ryan, what does that mean?
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Is it just as simple as that? Is there anything people should know who don't know?
About sign-up bonuses?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not as simple as that.
All right,
there's lots of different little intricacies of all the bonuses. But here's what I'll say. When I signed up for DraftKings, I was a little confused on the bonuses myself. So I emailed their help team just saying like, hey, so, you talk about the $1,000 bonus and there's two different ways to get it and et cetera, et cetera. And they were so helpful at just breaking down all the little ways, how you get your bonus. A lot of times these places can be really vague when you try to get this information from them, and DraftKings was super upfront. So really appreciate them for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Don't forget to enter DNVR and get your sign-up bonus up to $1,000 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and first bet match up to $500. This deposit bonus requires 25. I'm trying to read it fast and I just can't do it. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And don't forget, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-400.
Yeah, one cool thing about these explainers is that I learned all there is to know about betting on sports in just the 2 weeks that it's been legal in Colorado. Pretty crazy.
And Ryan and Andre, or what's Andre, the math magician?
That would be
Professor
Dre, Professor Dre, the math magician. Please get it right.
Yeah, and first off, what's hard about
show.
Yeah, what's hard about gambling? All you do is do what Curtis Blades and Ryan say to do. That's what gambling is.
But you don't want to just follow. I want to know my own stuff. I want to be like, you know what, Ryan? I don't think so. I don't think blah 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 is going to cover, and I'm going to bet this. So yeah, I just want to know my own stuff. But I'm excited. These explainers are awesome. And then RK and Andre are doing shows every night. DNVR bets, daily shows breaking down KBO bets and UFC fights, whatever we can actually bet on right now. They're breaking it down, so definitely check that out.
Well, and of course we've been going through all of the DNVR specials,
right.
All of the Broncos props. So it's not all just Korean baseball and UFC. There's a local angle as well.
All right. I apologize.
But the KBO is amazing.
All right, so moving on to the comments, we've got someone saying Avs alternate jersey would be a sweet home jersey, but the fact that we only wear it for a specific day is dope. I feel like most of us love the third alternate, right?
Can we point out how smart this commenter is, though? Look at that avatar. Look at that wonderful avatar that I made. That's my okay.
Well, he continued and added, Rocky should always wear purple at home. Forget the whites. Nuggets just need to bring back the skyline, period. So he had a lot of takes. And then we had old is the new again in all major sports. I feel like that's true. Everyone likes the throwback jerseys.
It's because they've seen what's wrong. Like they.
You never see anyone hating on the teams that just stayed with their classics. Like no one says like, man, Alabama's uniforms are so ugly, or Penn State's uniforms are so ugly, like, or even the Buffs, who have made minor tweaks throughout here and there, but really they've stayed true to their identity for a long time here. It's like everyone likes those. It's the ones that, like Eric says, become prisoners of a moment because they're trying to capture and sell some gear in a vacuum or quickly that end up looking poorly. So I'm actually with the commenter there. I love the Avs. It's funny because I love the Avs current look, but if you can imagine what the white version of the third jersey would look like if they made those the home and away, that would be beautiful as well. And then of course,
so beautiful.
I'm all in on just Nuggets making their entire look skyline and going with that forever.
You know, I agree that just staying to your classics is always good, but when you're looking to buy a new jersey, like the Rockies, I just feel like they need a little something. Just mix it up a bit. That's
but like
how I feel.
It's because the Rockies just represent futility. Like the Yankees have never touched their jerseys. They don't even put their names on the back of their jerseys. Like the Red Sox have never. I mean, all they do is sometimes they bring in a gray version or something, but it's like they never get too far a flight away from the middle through line where it is you just see it, you recognize it, it is that, and you move forward. Like the thing with the Nuggets jerseys, the skylines. My issue with the skylines is that it's too much. It's like I always say, it's like eating Skittles every single day. Like at a certain point, you're like, all right, like I love it as to see it every now and again. It's like fun to look at visually, but like to wear a full rainbow every day, you're like, man, I got to go to a job interview. I got to wear a rainbow. You know what I mean? Like that's what I like what they've done with this new rebrand is that they have a very basic, fundamentally sound designed uniform set that is, maybe it's not the most exciting thing you've ever seen in the world, but it won't look ridiculous in 10 years. That much I promise. So that's, if they can like stay in this lane and then like give like fun, interesting, then bring back the skylines as like the fun treat every year. Like I'm down with it, but like I want like a sound fundamental jersey that I can wear every year of its existence.
I think there's a happy medium that you could meet there. I say bring back the skyline. You don't necessarily have to go rainbow skyline all the time. You could make the skyline the look and just build the colors around it. I got to be honest. I think that the black skyline is the best jersey in Denver right now. And I think the Mile High City...
the best jersey in Denver.
Yeah.
Better than the Avs alternate.
Yep.
No way. I disagree.
The Mile High City... is one of the best as well, and I think the Nuggets' regular home and away right now are probably the worst.
The Nuggets ones,
yeah,
they're just uninspiring, but they're not bad. Like my favorite of the Nuggets is the skyline blue with the Mile High City jersey that says Mile High City. I'm curious though, Drew, what is your favorite jersey in sports? What do you? Oh, and AJ too. Like, what do you guys like when you look at sports
let's get them in the conversation.
I like ugly jerseys.
That's okay. Like, I'm curious though. Like,
my favorite jersey ever is the old New York Islanders fisherman logo.
Oh my god,
it is incredibly ugly.
It's orange. It's orange and like teal almost.
Love it.
What do you love about it?
that it's unique, that it has personality.
Mm-hmm.
That they tried something bold and that it didn't work at all, and they still sent a professional team on the ice and for that. I love it. I also, the other ones I really love. I love the Miami Vice Heat jerseys.
Oh,
That's
those are amazing.
People really do love those.
This one, AJ?
Love those. Yes, that's the one. Yes.
People who are listening to this on podcast, we're looking up the pictures and showing it on the live stream. Just it's
a lot going on. Yeah, it's like they've got the Gordon's Fisherman playing hockey.
Oh my god, he looks like a bad guy.
Yeah. I have to say, like, my favorite sports design exists in hockey. Like, you can do the most graphic, the most interesting big patches on the front of jerseys and like really make some cool looking stuff if you choose to harness it in the right way. Obviously, like, those guys were drunk with power and made an insane decision, but they won over AJ, so that's worth something.
Yeah. We've got some people that agree in the comments with some of the takes.
Do you have to have some response to some things you look at sometimes, right?
Sure. Yeah, no, I like AJ. What sticks out to me tends to be the stuff that's most unique and different. So in baseball, like, I really like the Oakland A's have an assortment of pretty awesome uniforms that I think are pretty universally actually loved, even though they can be a little wilder with all the greens and yellows and stuff. Like, any of those are good.
Mm-hmm. But these are like ultra classic, right? Like,
but that's still pretty much just and it's they have a rotation now of them. I don't think they ever take anything out, but they have this basic rotation, and they're all clean, good look.
That one that doesn't button down is so good.
I like that too. It seems like it definitely looks like a softball jersey that you wear for your local bar, but it's definitely very cool. I do love, because it's not, they have just like one color on another color. They don't have like 18 outlines, and there's a basicness to the design where they're not trying to.
Yeah, 70s. Yeah, the best. I can't be nostalgic for the 70s because I was born in 1986. But the 70s, like the 70s Pirates, are probably some of the dopest uniforms in the history of baseball.
Yeah, with the pillbox hat.
Yes, yeah, the hat's an important part of that one.
That didn't work. Like, what? The hat looks so dumb.
No.
The problem with a hat like that is that you have to be like Mean Joe Green to be able to pull it off. You can't like
Willie Stargell.
Yeah, really start. But like Eric Weedham, when he puts that on, you're like, oh, I see the problem with the design. That doesn't.
Doc Ellis threw a no-hitter on LSD. That uniform, I will have you know.
The light blue and the maroon, those are one of my favorites. I hate that it says Harper though, because it should be an older player. But
what in the world is that?
Like, why?
Because they brought those back last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But like, anyways.
Yeah, but
are you guys hinting at a DNVR bar softball team?
Yes, we are.
Oh
Absolutely.
God. Yes.
Ooh.
So in on that.
How many times have we talked about it?
Every time.
Yeah.
I'm not in on it because just knowing my luck, I would get a concussion and things would not be fun. So I'll be
you can make sure the cooler stays cold.
Excuse me, I think I'd prefer to be a coach.
Yeah, found the manager.
You want to be like a third base coach?
Yeah.
I always say just send them.
As long as I've got a Breck Brew in my hand, then yeah, for sure.
Drew, are you actually good? Are you actually good at the sport that you cover? Are you a good softball/baseball player?
I was 8 years ago. I can't remember the last time I picked up a ball or a bat or anything like that, but I was okay. I could hang in high school or whatever.
Are you? What was your position?
I was a catcher for most of my life, and then I had a growth spurt late in middle school where suddenly I was 6'3" and fast, and so they put me out in center field. They tried me at first base for a little while. I was terrible at that, and then I became a center fielder basically until I flamed out.
Well, good news, we got a center fielder. It's true.
I think we actually have like enough people to create a real softball team now.
But who are we going to play?
No, we're going to create a softball league.
Well, that's true. Because I was going to say there's literally like a Denver media league. Like 9 News has a team, and like iHeartRadio has a team, and
we could definitely take those guys.
I will charge them out at Josh Dover. No,
we can throw at some of these people.
Altitude. Yeah, no, we should absolutely. And then Eric can design like really dope jerseys that will just be cool no matter what.
And then we'll win even before we show up. Where we will.
I would love a DNVR jersey. That would be dope. But, all right, we're going to get to the rumors of the jerseys that we've heard. But first, Green Mountain Dental Group is in Lakewood, and they're the best damn family-owned dentists in the metro area. They're extreme Colorado sports fans, just like all of us, so you can talk to them about the non-existent sports going on right now. But anyways, schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam, and you'll receive a free Sonicare toothbrush. And definitely tweet at us when you go. I recently got an electric toothbrush. I don't know. I was going to say electric scooter. It got confused there. Electric toothbrush, and it is awesome. I highly recommend. Yes, Eric. You know, you're very proud of your scooter. But don't forget to call Green Mountain Dental Group, and they're going to give you a free Sonicare toothbrush when you get a cleaning, x-ray, and exam. So definitely check them out today. Someone else said, I, too, would love a DNVR hockey jersey.
Me too. I'm going to make all this stuff with big knucklehead on the front. Are you kidding me?
I think would Nucks be on the main jersey or just on the third?
I don't know, dude. It'd be like the Penguins have the big penguin right on the front.
Let me finish the ad with a help from our. The Sonicare is life changing, like Harrison says. Anyways, yes, I needed to include that in there. All right, rumors. So we've heard rumors. Let's start with the Rockies. Keep Drew talking. Rumors that with designs with no pinstripes. Drew, how would you feel about that?
How say you?
First of all, I think we need to change the terminology here. These aren't necessarily rumors as much as just ideas that people have come up with.
Well, yeah. Some of them are rumors.
So, yeah, like for years, people have been back to like the conversation earlier, right? Is like the Rockies. I think most people agree that Rockies actually have a pretty clean look for a team whose look came from this 90s and 2000s era that we're talking.
Yeah.
They've pretty much not changed it ever. They've never changed their logo. They've had the 2 primary logos, the one on Eric's hat, the CR, which nobody is asking to be changed.
Nope.
And then the baseball through the mountain one, which is
I love that one.
Right.
It's so cool.
And it's exactly what it's supposed to be. Like, what are we doing here? Oh, baseball in the mountains? Got it. Yes. Message received. Right. So I like someone said earlier, like, don't wear the white uniform. I think the white pinstripes at home look super clean. I like that. I have very positive associations with the black vests because that's what they wore throughout the entire 2007 run. We called them the blackout uniforms. But there's been talk of the 2 things, getting rid of the pinstripes and adding some kind of green to the uniform. And
green.
Well, they did. I believe there was a batting practice. Ali, you might be able to find this one too. A batting practice 1998 All-Star game that was held at Coors Field.
They're sweet.
And people have, after viewing that, suggested for years that the Rockies incorporate some kind of green into an alternate uniform.
Well, it's based on Coors Field, right? Because Coors Field is all green.
Right.
Interesting.
And so I think that was the basis of that. You've obviously all the green seats, not to mention the green trees in the background and all that stuff. So people feel like green, even if not on purpose, is kind of a part of the Rockies' identity.
But so does it work in concert with the purple? Is that the idea, or is it just on this?
Most of the mock-ups I've seen look a little rough to me. I do think the All-Star jersey looks good, but I've seen some decent ones that people have come up with. But it's like 1 out of every 7. Somebody shows me a Rockies uniform with green in it, and I'll go, okay, yeah.
Here, I don't know. Hold on.
We got the Purple Mountains Majesty. Like, what's the issue here?
Like, you could buy this on eBay right now.
Oh, that's like that. That looks just like the St. Patrick's Day alternative that like anybody could have.
That's not the right one there, Allie.
It says 1998 All-Star Game, green.
Yeah, but we're looking for the batting practice jersey.
Well, you know what? Google's a little hard to find everything, so
I'll find it and send it to you.
I'm looking it up and don't see anything.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I what I can do is look at mock-ups of these things and say that looks good to me, that doesn't. And so when someone shows me a Rockies uni without the pinstripes, I go, oh, okay, yeah, that looks clean. I'm certainly not super attached to one. I understand the idea of like adding to it because they haven't done much, but I always think back to what Eric said before. It's like, why? I mean, how much change do they really need? The Rockies pretty much look good every time they go out. Like,
don't touch it. Don't add green. Don't do it. Don't. It's a trap. I promise you, it's a trap.
All right. Well,
it's a trap.
Ryan, are you finding it?
It's in your
Let's
text.
see. All right, let's evaluate this. Let's take a look.
I haven't gotten anything.
Unbelievable.
We've got two different angles for you.
I do like that they made the purple a truer purple. That was a weird thing there for a while, where their purple unis looked more blue on TV, and now it's like,
yeah, they got a little more red in them now. That purple. They do monkey around with that shade of purple a lot.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about these batting practice unis is that they use a mountain to be the A in American and National, a purple mountain. It's pretty dope.
Genius.
But they did get the purple right. You're right. Both of you guys, they finally got that kind of locked in.
They'll change it though. They always change it.
I'm all in favor of no pinstripes at home.
I don't have like a big opinion on that one way or the other. Honestly, like
What?
I think it's like it's to me it's you can't really see them from the stands anyway. It's like definitely classic rock. Like the Rockies sort of the problem with the Rockies is that they don't have anything of their own to hang their hat on. They have a lot of like popular design elements that they've sort of mined from other teams that they've put together. But in their the thing they have working for them is that even though this lockup of letters is not an original idea, it is so classic as far as baseball is concerned that it's so inoffensive that it like continues on forever, and then it just becomes an institution and you never question it again.
This one?
Yeah.
So
there it is.
There it is, baby. Yeah. So purple and green, like that's the colors of Wimbledon.
Weird.
It's dope.
It's like this is like fun. This is like a little one off. This is funsies, but you couldn't make this the like part of their like actual.
For people listening, if you want
this
to
can't be canon.
What we're talking about, it's the 1998 All-Star game in Colorado. So.
If you Google 1998 All-Star Game Home Run Derby, you will find the jerseys because they wore them during that.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Next up, we've got the Avs, who they are celebrating their 25th anniversary year for the franchise here in Denver. And because of that, there are reports that they might unveil a Nordiques like alternate jersey for next season. I've seen some of the mock-ups or some of the ideas. They look great. They look awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I thought AJ was going to jump in, but what are your thoughts, AJ?
Come on, AJ.
Cool.
AJ.
I mean, the Nordiques jerseys are neat. They're classic. I own one. They're very cool. I think the interesting twist is that, and I don't know if this is public or not. I actually didn't dig too deep into these rumors. The expectation is that if they do a Nordiques design, it's going to be in Avs colors.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm not sure what that looks like. I would imagine just the fleur de lis, the red logo, is probably just burgundy instead, and then they use the classic Nordiques blue still, and then they probably stick with the white outlines that they had on the bottom of the jersey and on the sleeves. So that would be. I think it would be cool. I mean, you have to buy Sam Girard one, right? Because he's the only, like prominent French Canadian. I said on the Avs pod when we talked about this that I think it would be weird to see them in Denver because it's not Colorado. Like it's Quebec's history, and to see it in Denver would be awkward. And so I would prefer for the Avs to give up a home game and play at the Colisée in Quebec City.
Wow.
And play a Montreal Quebec game, because that was the classic rivalry, was Habs and Nords, and have that there. But then, of course, the Cronkies would be giving up a home game, and they're not in the business of giving money away. So as we see, as they continue to take season ticket deposits from Avalanche fans, I think that it's cool. Like I like the idea. I really would have liked the idea in the first several years of the team. Now that we're 25 years in, there's more Avs history than there is Nordiques history. And so this is no longer like the baby Avs, coming from the old school Nordiques. There's now more Avs history than Nordiques history in the NHL. So
is that right? How long were the Nordiques around? Do you know offhand?
I don't. But okay. It was not 25 years.
Interesting.
And I think that I'm excited for it. It's cool. I like the idea of doing different like one-off jerseys. I do really like their thirds that they use against Central Division opponents. I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's
for people who might not know what the Nordiques logo looked like.
Yeah, so they were talking they would have the fleur-de-lis in a different color, probably like a blue.
Yeah.
And then they would do the actual red logo with would be in burgundy. And that was just purely speculative. I don't know if that's actually what's going to happen, but
yeah.
I think there's also mock-ups with that in mind.
So
yeah,
we'll
I do love having just like fun one-offs for every season. I think that's very cool. And it really scratches that itch of like wanting to get something new, but not messing up your entire brand along the way.
And I think that there's extra pressure after they botched the Stadium Series one so badly.
Man, those were so rough, man.
Well, and so did you see the practice jerseys?
Even I knew.
Yeah. So, where they didn't, where they actually had that logo in where it was contained in the middle. It didn't take up make that like bib look and
exactly. And that was where I thought that they really kind of dropped the ball, was that the practice jerseys that they unveiled the day before the game, everybody was like,
what the F?
Whoa! Holy wow! Now that logo is incredible. Where are these jerseys available? And then they were like, well, we're not selling those. And I was like, what? Your fan base just melted down in excitement the second they saw them.
How about,
and then they just bounced.
How about the letter jacket that Bedsy was wearing during the game?
Oh, baby. That was
so clean. It was
so sharp.
Clean.
I honestly don't. I remember the one that Wall wore at Coors Field. I remember that letter jacket and being like, oh my God. But I don't think I remember. I don't think I saw that at all.
There's a reason why Jared Bednar won. What was it in our goatees?
Best dressed.
Best dressed.
It was not because of that camouflage military day.
Like 3 days later, I think he did that specifically to troll us.
He definitely heard about it and was like,
bruh.
oh, DNVR.
Show you.
Yeah.
It's so great.
The Nordiques jerseys, it'd be cool. It would be cool to get a McKinnon one, to see some of them around, but honestly, it just feels, I don't know. The cynic in me feels very cash grabby. I would prefer that they do something like what they did for their 10th anniversary, where they had the really cool Avalanche Avalanche colored X logo that they put on a bunch of stuff to celebrate their 10th. And that was really cool, and it was very Avs, and it felt, and everybody loved it. Like, people look back on it and are like, oh, those 10th anniversary things were awesome. People have pins and hats and shirts. And that logo was really popular, and it was also keeping within the Avs. You do this one-off Nordiques thing, and it's cool. It took you 25 years to acknowledge that this happened in your franchise's history, but it's not celebrating the Avs 25th year. It's celebrating the fact that they got a team from another city because they couldn't pay for them anymore.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like we always get into these like little discussions about what jerseys are good, what jerseys are bad, and like my perspective is always the same on this. It's like what you guys look at and you like you're not wrong to like what you're looking at. Like it's what I always look at and I start to evaluate design. I always think of it from the brand of the team that we're looking at and like what these decisions they're making in the immediate mean for the long term and like what sins they are committing, which are going to come back to bite them down the line and like why things aren't done correctly with the larger view in mind is almost always my perspective. Sometimes things are just ugly, but there's value in that too. Like you said, RK, you like weird things. All of you like just weird one-offs, and I can't tell you that those are bad or you don't like those because you do like those. And every time that I do any kind of design work, like I always that's more populist, that's like for the masses. Like I always make sure to ask as many people as possible, not because I want them to give me the right answer or tell me like how to design it correctly. I just want to get their visceral reaction to what it is that they're looking at because it's not wrong. Like that's not a wrong thing to react to. It's what's true. And so, but it's all about finding that balance of like understanding and not being, again, a prisoner of the moment, but being able to get people energized and excited about sports because, it's a long-term storyline and you don't always have the things coming from the field itself to be able to generate excitement. So I get like the business side of it. Like you want to introduce new elements and it's fun, but that's always like, if we ever get into like a quibble about whether or not a jersey is good or bad, I mean, that is my perspective is always the larger branding perspective.
That is good.
These are
right.
Oh yeah. But look at below him.
Well, let's not.
I mean, he's just a silver fox. I mean, what couldn't he look good in?
Great looking man.
It just looks so simple, but yeah, the rest of it is a little.
Because I noticed you didn't zoom in on the assistant coach. He's wearing the same jacket that we didn't fawn over.
I just found the Patrick Waugh one from that Stadium Series, which is very similar, but just has the Colorado flag C on it, and that one's real nice too.
Yeah, I always loved those.
If you scroll down on that Google search I sent you, Allie, you can run into it probably.
Let's see.
I like Rockies spring training hats with the C, with Colorado C in it.
I have those back here somewhere.
Yeah,
it's funny though. People outside of Colorado don't like those. They think about it like we think about the Maryland flag that they just like.
That's the exception to your rule that people can't be wrong though. We call those people wrong.
Being from that part of the country, the Maryland flag is cool, but just like they use it for everything. And like we went to a game one day and someone was wearing just the Maryland flag. Like,
so rough.
And it's just like, why did you choose to wear that? But I mean, whatever makes them happy.
Yeah, everything in that part of the country is the Maryland flag put into shapes and Old Bay seasoning. And if you command mastery of those two things, you could be the mayor of any city on the East Coast.
I wish you could see the Seymour, but that looks awesome.
Look at that. Holy shnikes.
The Avs
I sent you on that. You can see it a little more.
The Avs logo, kind of the third logo, kind of has like that Colorado flag feel to it.
Yes, it does.
I know that has split the Avs fans into pieces because people not from Colorado there's no appeal to them. They're like, oh, this doesn't speak to me as an Avs fan. I'm not from Colorado. Not every Avs fan is from Colorado. Why don't you tailor this more to all of us? And it's like
because it says Colorado. This is a Colorado team,
and it's like right, and it's like I mean, you kind of gotta.
You're allowed to be a fan of it.
Like Colorado, especially, is one of those places that's like very, very, very proud.
Hell yeah,
to be from Colorado, and it's just one of those places where it's like Colorado gear sells really well, and.
Yeah. I mean, it's just dope. Like you guys, Colorado has a dope flag, a dope everything. I mean, it's cool.
And see, this is My issue with the Colorado stuff is like I don't like the primary colors, the red, blue, yellow. To me, it's very. They didn't put a lot of thought into it, but like it's taking that initial idea and it's bringing nuance and sophistication to it. It obviously is the darker shades of both. Navy and this burgundy, which are much more harmonious, and they're not loud. They feel like cold weather wear. It's like appropriate for hockey. They turned the middle part of the sea into a hockey puck as opposed to it just being that yellow, sun. You've heard me. I mean, I think that I would love for them to just adopt that third logo as their main logo. I think it's just like so clever. Not even clever, but I just think it's like so inarguable. Like there's nothing wrong with it.
I think they were on their way to doing that. When they made the gear, when the NHL gear change moved from Reebok to Adidas. And then when they unveiled their new jersey at the 2017 draft and they got rid of the unipron, as we called it, because it had the apron strings running down the sides. And they got rid of that and they unveiled Makar was actually the first guy to ever have that jersey. And fans went like it went back to like the old school Avs look, the original one, and fans just went nuts for it. And then they were like, "Oh, well,
what do you
this is gonna make us a lot of money, so let's just let this be." And then they found a creative way to use the exactly.
Oh, look at little Kale.
Look at him.
Oh, God, I miss him so much.
7 months ago.
those rosy cheeks that get rosy every single time he does any kind of physical activity at all.
This makes me sad.
Don't you wish that
was a great day.
But don't you wish that when you work out, you got cuter? Like you became like if you want to squeeze your little cheeks.
Yeah, instead of getting like sweaty and gross, you just get like rosy cheeks, and everybody's like, "Oh!"
I turn into a sweaty monster. It's like a disaster.
Right? Because you're a normal human being and you're not an adult.
No, I'm not. Like I sweat at such a higher rate than a normal human being. Like,
we've talked a lot about the Avs jerseys.
They Manscaped.
I know. This is the first time in a long time I haven't read a Manscaped read, guys. You got lucky for the people who really despise it, which there's some people who are like cringeworthy of me.
Whatever. Those people like the green Rockies.
Let's finish this off. We already talked a lot about Broncos in the beginning, but the pictures and ideas that we've seen online are the Broncos color rush-esque concept with the white pants. Ryan,
oh my God.
You're already excited about it. So let's start with you.
That uniform. So I actually for a while now said we're settling. Like when people are just make the color rush concept the uniform. I was like, that's settling. Just because it's good doesn't mean it has to be the thing. But then when I saw that combination with the white pants, I was like, all right, you know what? Never mind. I've seen Nike mess this up, which I am a Nike stan. But I've seen them mess up trying to go for a whole new look. They've been really good at just recapturing an old look and making it nice and new. So just forget it. I don't want to see what might happen if they try to go with a new look. Just roll with that look. Give it the white pants. You can have a blue jersey too, blue, white, and orange jerseys. White pants. If you want to get crazy, you could also add some orange pants in the mix, which the Broncos have done at some point in their history. Stick with the navy blue. I don't want to go with the royal blue. I know there's a lot of Broncos fans who will, take issue with that. But the navy blue feels like a strong franchise to me, the color of a great team. And just run with that. That thing is incredible. It blew when I saw that edit, I stopped, my jaw dropped to the floor.
Yeah, I was screaming for that the white pants. I mean, because orange is distinctive, but boy, it is a lot. That's a lot of color to be able to deal with or have to incorporate into your own personal aesthetic or wear a shirt of. But yeah, when you counterbalance it with that nice white, you allow the orange to pop off. Then it can be the dominant color. With because the royal blue and the orange are sort of like the same level of intensity. And so they kind of like compete for your attention a little bit. But that's not the case. If you have a color that recedes into the back, that it's heavier, like the navy, then it allows the brighter orange to sort of like take center stage. So I'm with it. Like as soon as I saw the color rush, I was like, yes, but no on these pants, no orange pants. Orange pants, as in every part of life, are not permitted.
Maybe if you're like skiing or snowboarding, you could pull
Even
off
then.
orange pants.
Yeah, you're right. But even then, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get it for color rush. It's a lot, especially for the players who aren't like ripped. It's a tough look. They look like giant pumpkins, but man, look at that.
Yeah, this is a beaut. I do have to say, because they've got like, you just got like the right little part. Like there's just a band, like the socks break it up so it's not just all white all the way down. Like just those bands of color are like the right size. Although to be honest, like the bands of color should be the same on the socks that they are on the side of the uniform. Like up there, the blue is too thin, but like that's just and it should be the same as it is on the center of the helmet. Like that's the other thing. Like when people do designs, they don't make them cohesive. They don't take the same elements and use them throughout, so it feels intentional. So a lot of times you get
called a uniform.
Yeah, it is. It's called a uniform. But the thing is like people don't. They just like it looks like things are just put together versus being like crafted as one.
Yeah. What was like? Oh, I wanted to give a shout out. I believe I did some research trying to find out who was the originator of that design, and I believe it's a Reddit user by the name of Bento Box Berry. So shout out to Bento Box Berry.
BBB.
With that, we are going to answer a bunch of questions on next week's pod. So if you have any questions you want us to answer, definitely leave it on the this tweet, or in the YouTube comments, or on the DNVR.com. We've got a lot of places, or in the Discord. I'll be asking that for DNVR Lounge members to ask us some questions, and we'll be answering it. And we'll try and have as many people on as we can. Yes, Brian?
And I was just going to say, I encourage you to try to come up with questions that mesh well across all sports.
Yeah. We've definitely had a bunch of people add some good ones in there. We've had a lot of discussions, with months without sports going on now. But if you have a question, definitely let us know. And while you're at it, check out thednvr.com. There aren't sports going on really besides the KBO, but we are producing a lot of great content. Adam Midas has a great video on YouTube about Nikola Jokic in Summer League, the first year that he was playing. AJ and Rudo are busting out the draft coverage, prospect videos, and all of that.
Doing a mock draft today.
Mock draft today. Look at that. So, what are you going to say again, Ryan?
Oh, it's just our friend over here said we need to mention the Buffs jerseys, which everyone knows that I love them. Eric, can you just tell everyone how great the Buffs jerseys are?
Well, I don't love the one you're wearing, if I'm being honest. The Colorado's too big for me, but the Buffs, much to my chagrin, I have to say, do have the best jerseys in all of Colorado. God, I hate that. I can't believe I just said that. They like the combination, the gold.
With that, we just need to end. We just
Ladies and gentlemen,
we got
it. Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the show. Happy Friday. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, and we will see you guys next week. Again, I don't have outro music. I'm sorry. I need it.